So we are now recording, and just want to say thank you guys for getting your payments in on time. Obviously, if you owe something, just go ahead and send it in. I apologize about the increase in the airfare costs that we had this year. Usually that never happens, but it happened this year. It wasn't too bad of an increase, though. Could have been worse. And so I appreciate you guys being here with us. And I'm going to pass this over to Brother Jeremy Lang. And I've got to do another Zoom call with somebody here in about 30 minutes. So if I step out or something, it's not because I'm mad at y'all. It's just because I got to go Zoom somebody else about NYC tonight. So busy time of the year for me. But Brother Jeremy Lang, thank you for leading us. And this will be, I think, our third or fourth year in a row. And we're so thankful for you and your burden for Israel and just getting that burden into our organization. So take it away, man.
Well, Shalom Aleichem, everyone. I'm certainly looking forward to going to Israel. Again, I don't know how many trips I have led. This is the third or fourth. I can't remember how many that is, actually. I know it's been about 4 years since I've been at home during that particular week. But by God's grace of Sukkos, I mean to say, but we moved it back a week this year, and I want to say I appreciate Brother Josh being flexible with that. I am going to be sending, and I was trying to get it done before I joined. First of all, can everyone hear me okay? Okay, just making sure. I'm going to be sending out the detailed itinerary to everyone as soon as we end our discussion tonight, so everyone will have it in hand. Of course, there are sometimes that we adjust things, particularly if there's weather. Sometimes there are adjustments because of roads that close, or something like that with regards to, could be from politics, it could be from, last year we had an issue, earlier this year, the group I took earlier this year, the marathon closed down half of the old city of Jerusalem. So we had to circumnavigate a few things. So sometimes traveling to Israel does require one to be a little bit flexible. I do want to say this, and I certainly want to have the opinion of our fearless leader and youth president on rendezvous time before I begin going down the itinerary as to what time that our flight departs at 5:25 from O'Hare, Terminal 5. So what I wanted to clarify was what your opinion was, Brother Josh, on the time to rendezvous. Hey, Brother, maybe
there we go. I'm not muted anymore. Okay. I think 2:25 is sufficient. 3 hours before. With this small of a group, I think that'll be fine. Usually if I have 30 or 40, I want everybody to get there 4 or 5 hours early. I think if any of you guys are flying in, which I'm not sure if you are or not, make sure you fly into O'Hare, not Midway. We had 3 people flying to Midway on this summer trip to Kenya. And then make sure that you check the dates whenever you get back. We had some confusion on this last trip. Some people saw that we left on a certain date, but you didn't get back on the same date. So they didn't order their tickets to get home right. So if you guys are flying there or two, make sure you guys look at the dates and all that sort of thing. But I think 3 hours is sufficient. Wouldn't you think, Jeremy?
Yeah, I do. Okay.
If you're flying in, probably need 5 hours because you'll have to get your bags and go back through security and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, that would be probably a minimum, I would say, just to be safe.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So Monday, October 21st. Okay, we will rendezvous 3 hours before, and that will be at International Terminal 5. We will meet in front of the LOT Polish Airlines ticket counter. there to check in for our flight. And I have included on the itinerary all of the flight information as well. And I'll also be sending you hotel information to leave with your family and so forth as well. We will arrive on Tuesday, October 22nd. We will arrive in Warsaw, Poland, and that will be at 9:30 a.m. At 9:30 a.m. Warsaw time. So I did put that parenthetically in the itinerary so that way everyone can stay up on the proper times. We will have a little bit of a lengthy layover in Warsaw. We're going to be there for around about 6 hours. It's not, it is a busy little airport, but it's so easy to get around. There's coffee shops, comfortable seats, kind of just hang out, some little shops and things like that. So, and maybe a few places for anyone that wants to curl up in the floor and take a nap. I had people do that in the past too. So certainly you can do that. We will depart from Warsaw at 3:25. So we arrive at 9:30 a.m. Warsaw time, and then we depart at 3:25. And that will be for Tel Aviv on LOT Polish Airlines, flight number 155. And we will arrive at 8:15 p.m. and that is going to be Israel time. We don't waste a whole lot of time at the airport unless anybody gets detained, which I have a couple of times because I've been all over the Middle East, and so I've got Middle Eastern stamps all throughout my passport, especially my Pakistan visas. That's given me problems. And then, fortunately, when they come and speak to me and I speak to them in Talmudic Biblical Hebrew, they just thumb me through. I'm like, I waited here an hour, and they just handed me my passport and said, we're sorry. And they've done that to me twice. So generally, I want to be the first one to go through the line at immigration, just in case. So that way you're not waiting as long. I certainly don't want that to happen again. In fact, I spoke to some people in charge this last time to hopefully ensure that they put a note next to. I've been to Israel so many times. They said that was the other thing that flagged. First Pakistan, and then, well, he's been coming in and out here a lot. So we'll pray that doesn't happen this time. So we will arrive again at 8:15 p.m. We go straight to Jerusalem, to our hotel from there. It's at that time of night, it's going to be less than an hour, most likely. Whenever we get to our hotel, we're staying at the Jerusalem National Hotel. And the Jerusalem National Hotel is a nice hotel. It is just a few minutes walk from the Damascus Gate. And the Damascus Gate is the closest gate to the Garden Tomb. So we're actually staying just a short minute walk from the Garden Tomb, which is really nice. The nice thing about this hotel is that they serve us. It's a half-board room. So they serve us 2 really good meals a day. We get breakfast as well as dinner every day. So it's really, really a good deal. A lot of bang for the buck there on that. So we want to keep everybody fed and watered.
That included in the that's included in the payment for the room too, right?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Breakfast and dinner is the money that you've paid for your hotel expenses. We've worked hard. We've tried different hotels. I happened upon this hotel more out of necessity because I've never really desired to stay on that particular side of town. But it actually, logistically, it works out really well. And whenever I spoke to the hotel manager, he said, we'll give you a half board. It means if you bring groups here, we're going to feed them both breakfast and dinner. And it's not like Cheerios and you get your choice between whole milk or skim milk and that's it. No, it's a gourmet. They have a trained chef. I believe he might have trained in Paris or Italy or something like that. And they have, it's legit. So we're going to keep everybody fed and watered while we're there. So that's going to be, we will be 5 nights at that hotel. And so we'll be able to get a good night's rest once we arrive. If there are no delays, I'd like to see us at the hotel checked in at least maybe by 10 o'clock or 10:30, if at all possible. So then Wednesday, we get up and start Jerusalem Day number 1. And the Jerusalem Day number 1, we will, this day, our Jerusalem days will really be the days that we walk the most. And so make sure that you do have some comfortable shoes. I don't recommend, because of the cobblestone, I don't recommend flip-flops and really even sandals. I mean, unless you have a really good set of sandals that are going to be comfortable for you, I suggest a pretty sturdy footwear to make you comfortable. So Jerusalem Day number 1, we're going to be visiting the Western Wall, Temple Mount. We're going to go over on the east side of the Old City and sit down and talk a little bit about the archaeology and the history of Jerusalem and the Old City. And we will also on that day go into what is technically Mount Zion, which is actually where the upper room is. So that day is a really awesome day. And we get to walk through the market, through the Old City from where we are at the Damascus Gate all the way to the Western Wall. So there's some really neat things to see as we walk there. Then Thursday, October 24th, is Jerusalem Day number 2. This might be a little bit fluid on this particular day. We will be seeing the Garden Tomb on Jerusalem Day number 2. That's on Thursday. The Rockefeller Museum, I do want to make that available because it's actually incredibly close to where our hotel is. It's like a stone throw away from our hotel. And then a really fun time going to Ben Yehuda Street, which is always a highlight, going to Ben Yehuda Street. It's a shopping day. It's going to be very different from the other parts of Jerusalem that you will have seen up to this point. It's the Old City is kind of otherworldly. You feel like when you walk in, you've taken a step back in time. Ben Yehuda Street is kind of the cosmopolitan center of Jerusalem, and it's just kind of a decent little walk from our hotel where we will be. Nice coffee shops and everything. Unfortunately, there's a Pizza Hut there, but you won't be able to get pepperoni on it. I had a guest one time that went with us, and they were so frustrated they want pepperoni on their pizza, and so just letting you know ahead of time, there won't be any pepperoni on your pizza. We'll talk about that, the reasons for that later. But he come out scratching his head. He said, "Man, I've never been to pizza that didn't have pepperoni." So anyway, Ben Yehuda Street. There's a couple of things that I want to say about Ben Yehuda Street. We kind of break off and divide off, and I let people, and then we kind of have a rendezvous point. I kind of let people experience it how they would like to. I will let you know that I have a good friend of mine who is a shop owner who has a shop that sells modest clothes for the ladies. And so ladies, just to let you know, he gives good prices. My wife always says, let him know that the quality of everything is great, because she's worn some of the things I bought for her there and that she's bought herself, that she's been in the store. She said it doesn't get threadbare. It lasts forever. So kind of like the sandals and the clothes and wandering in the wilderness, just last forever. So do keep that in mind if you are wanting to buy skirts or shirts. All kinds of modest clothing are there. Then we will, of course, go back to the room that night. Friday morning, we will be taking, after Jerusalem Day number 2, we'll be taking day trips from our hotel. We'll be kind of working out of our hotel back and forth. So we'll be going to Hebron. We'll be going to the Cave of the Patriarchs, which is in Hebron. Very, very awesome thing there. Bethlehem Nativity Church, we'll visit there. And also a friend of mine owns the Zuluf shop for olive wood souvenirs, and it's always a very interesting trip to go and to see that. Then back to Jerusalem. We'll be going back to Jerusalem that evening to pray at the Western Wall and to experience ringing in Shabbos, the Sabbath, on Friday night. It's a lot of singing, a lot of praying, a lot of shouting, a lot of dancing, and it's a wonderful experience. In fact, I've had some people just travail in the Holy Ghost while all that's going on, and praying and just intercessory prayer during that time, because God is moving. I had well, in fact, oh yes, I have the Fleury family here, Sister Fleury and Sparkplug there, Olivia. Pastor Fleury said something to me a few weeks ago, and I just want to kind of put a tag in here on this. We talk about praying at the Western Wall. He said something I've never thought about before, and that is, there have been more prayers prayed in that location than anywhere in the entire world, when you really think about it. For how many thousands of years, the amount of prayers that have been prayed there, and from all over the world, people have left their prayer requests written on little pieces of paper. They crammed them in the cracks of the bricks at the Western Wall. It's such a, I'd never even thought about that before. But when you think about the prayers that have been prayed over the years, and so we get to connect with that, a very important part of our own history as apostolics. So we're going to do that on Friday night. Saturday morning. Saturday is going to be a crazy day. It's always a full day. We go to Masada, which is out in the Judean desert. I'll explain about those things. I'm going to give you the preview tour now. We'll do that there. Masada, then to Qumran, which is where the Dead Sea Scrolls were found, which are also very important to us as apostolics. We're going to talk about that. Going to the Jordan River as well. One thing that I do let our groups know, and forgive me if this sounds assertive or abrasive, I don't rebaptize people who have already been baptized in Jesus' name at the Jordan River. Now, I have given the Jordan River some business. I took a Methodist group earlier this year, the first time I've ever taken people that weren't apostolics, and I said, oh God, I'm going to give that river some business, and we did that time. But I don't do that. I have had pastors that have gone with me that have baptized folks there, and of course anyone in our group that would want to do that. I know we have ministry who are going. Please feel free to do that, and certainly I cast no judgment on that at all. I just like to let everyone know out front about that. But everybody can get in the Jordan River. You can wade out there and the muddy Jordan. So most welcome to do that. Then also that day we'll be going to the Dead Sea and maybe riding a camel, if you're not afraid of them, which I don't trust them. I don't trust elephants either. Lived in India, and I just don't trust them. Okay. Then that's Saturday, and it's a full day. It is a full day. We'll be getting back that evening. Sunday, October 27th, we will depart Jerusalem. But before we depart kind of the greater Jerusalem area, we're going to stop at the Garden of Gethsemane. And we're also, before we depart Jerusalem, kind of say a farewell to the holy city from the Mount of Olives. And that's always a pretty awesome sight to see, to look out over the Temple Mount, and Jerusalem from the Mount of Olives is really awesome. So from there, we go to Jericho. We'll stop in Jericho. We'll have breakfast, have coffee there, take a look around. Some neat little things that are there. There are no walls in Jericho, in case you were wondering. Say, I want to go see the walls. Well, there's some rubble that we think were the walls. Somebody said that they thought they found Rahab's thread, the scarlet thread. I don't believe them, but they said that they found it. I don't know it. They're going to have to prove that one to me, but maybe we could go looking for it. I don't know. We'll have a good time there. It's always an interesting stop. One thing that is there is a very old tree that we do believe was a tree that Zacchaeus climbed up next to the very road that Jesus came in to Jericho on. So that's really awesome. And from there, we continue driving down the Jordan River Valley to Tiberias, which is on the Sea of Galilee. And there we will go to the ruins of Capernaum. And when we get to the ruins of Capernaum, we're going to have a church service there in the open air. And we always have a wonderful, wonderful time there, singing and worshiping and praying one for another. In fact, the last AYC group that I took over there was the students just amazed me how they ministered one to another. And so we will have a service in the open air there on Sunday. I want you to think about this. Capernaum, the house of Peter, the ruins of the house of Peter will be only about 50, 60 feet from where we'll be standing on the Sea of Galilee and having a church service there. We are Peter's spiritual progeny, and we're going to go back there and have an apostolic service right there in the open air, and that's always a great time. Then we will camp in Tiberias for the night, and Monday we will get up early and depart Tiberias for Tel Aviv. But on the way, we're going to stop in Nazareth for a few hours. Some interesting things there. We'll kind of have a short little tour there of some of the archaeological sites that are in the market area, kind of the central Nazareth area. We have coffee. We have Nazareth. For some reason, the best baklava comes out of Nazareth. Can anything good come? Baklava. It comes out of Nazareth, and it's good. So we're going to stop there and have that. Bring your insulin pen with you. And then from there, we go back to Tel Aviv. We'll get back to Tel Aviv early to mid-afternoon, most likely. So when we get to Tel Aviv Jaffa to check into our hotel, the rest of that day is going to be a free day. Now, mind you, we're going to be next to the old city of Jaffa, which is right on the Mediterranean Sea. And it's a really awesome place to walk around, good restaurants, cafes, stores all over the place. And you can really just take in the culture. Tuesday, the entire day is for you. It's a free day. Everyone loves this area. It's such just a breath of fresh air right there next to the Mediterranean Sea. Some people shop. Some people go out and relax on the beach. They also have free bus tour of Tel Aviv or Jaffa, kind of the old city. It's free, but what they do is they will pull you into a gift shop at the end, hoping that you're paying for it in one currency or another, I guess you could say. I mean, you don't have to buy anything. They won't hurt you if you don't, but that's kind of the catch. The gift shop, you always have to walk through the gift shop to get to the exit. That's one of the things that you learn in the Holy Land. Another thing, you can rent scooters from our hotel and ride around. And that's a lot of fun. They have a weight limit on it, though, so I can't ride on them. And so that's going to be a Tuesday, a great day to enjoy. We generally stay in the area. I have friends in Tel Aviv that usually come into to the Jaffa area, and we have dinner together. So perhaps they will be able to meet with us at that time and really get to meet a nice Orthodox Jewish family. So you may enjoy that. Wednesday, October 30th, we will depart the hotel for the airport at approximately 8 o'clock in the morning. And it's easy to get into Israel through immigration. It's a process to leave Israel. And so, you know, here in America, when you go to check in, they say 3 hours. Be there 3 hours early. That's good. Generally, you get through in an hour, and if everything's clicking, and then you get to kind of just wait on the other side. Well, in Israel, we get there 3 hours early, and we use that 3 hours. We have to show ID 3-4 different times. We have to clear so many different security checks as we go through. You're liable to get interrogated whenever you are trying to exit, and we generally make it back to the gate just in time. So our flight departs Tel Aviv for Warsaw at 11:25 a.m. on Polish Airlines 156. We arrive in Warsaw at 2:25. We don't have long in Warsaw on the way out. So we will be in Warsaw for just a couple of hours. We arrive at 2:25. We depart Warsaw at 4:40. So, and that will be departing then to O'Hare on flight 3, and arrive at O'Hare at 8:50 p.m. and that will also be at International Terminal number 5. The end. Brother Josh, anything else that you would like for me to address? That's pretty well the itinerary, or does anybody have any questions?
I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. What, as far as dress?
Is that Bob Vila? I can't see.
Bob Vila.
That is Bob Vila.
Brother Coffee,
Okay.
real
All right.
quick. Jeremy, I'm going to go ahead and stop recording, and then that way I can save it at the end. I've got to get on this other call here. So love you guys. Praying for y'all, and we'll be in touch on Facebook. God bless y'all.
All right.
Love you, buddy.